This is JBM from Villain News. It's December 2012. This is going to be my second video on ideas for Star Wars Episode 7, the sequel to Return of the Jedi. Let's just jump right into it. At the end of Return of the Jedi, the Emperor foresees everything, basically, the whole plan, even though his plan goes sour when he apparently gets betrayed by his own apprentice, Darth Vader. Thrown down the shaft. There's no way he died. Okay, but then there's, if you're familiar with the interpretations of the Thrawn trilogy, which is 3 novels, 1 long story, and then after that, a sequel to that was made, was Dark Empire, where Palpatine basically clones himself, or his spirit lives on because he's so strong with the Force. The Force is like sex, and the light side of the Force is like sex, and the dark side of the Force is like sex and ecstasy. And it consumes you, and he's more powerful than probably any being that ever lived. The question is, do they go into hiding? Okay, the Death Star blows up. There was like dozens of Star Destroyers that he had set up as backup for the Death Star to trap the Rebel Alliance, Admiral Akbar and everything. And, so, he had to get picked up. The Emperor's Royal Guards, the red guys, picked him up. Either that or his spirit moved on. And he went out to the outer regions, which was controlled by Grand Admiral Thrawn, as we know, who is basically similar to the Peter Cushing character, the Grand Admiral of the first Death Star in A New Hope, where he has overconfidence in the Death Star and that ends up getting blown up. No, but he's a lot different than that character. He's more of a Star Trekian type of villain, and the Emperor and Emperor Palpatine is prejudiced towards, obviously, and racist because he likes the species of human, and all officers in the Imperial Army were human. If you see in all the original trilogy movies, all the commanding officers of different Star Destroyer ships are human, but Grand Admiral Thrawn, who was a genius, who was discovered by Palpatine when he had a mission sent out into the outer regions and they ran into them. That's a whole different story that they made a prequel for Thrawn. And anyway, so where was I? Palpatine will meet up with, I think it's not like they're going to follow the Thrawn trilogy, is what I'm saying, but like they did with Timothy Zahn's novels, they took parts of that. George Lucas took parts of that and included it into the prequels. You got, basically, the expanded universe will somewhat be, obviously, just like how they do with Marvel comic book movies. It'll be twisted around, and with Batman movies, it's like Scarecrow didn't work for the League of Shadows, but he did in Nolan's movie. They make the characters twist around, and so anyway, he was taken. I was talking about Thrawn, who took over and the outer regions. Basically, let's say the opening scene is they took over, and remember, Palpatine completely wiped out the democracy and all the remnants of the old Republic, and so there has to be a whole new Republic. I don't know if they should start directly after, the events of Return of the Jedi. If they're going to use the same actors, they were talking about doing a Tron style, like CGI or Looper, how they did with Bruce Willis, make him look smaller, or with CGI, make him look younger, and play those characters. But if you've seen Carrie Fisher lately. She looks like Penny Marshall, sounds like Penny Marshall. It can't really be done. And then there's also the rumors of Vader returning, which would obviously totally ruin the redemption story because he even completely returns back, and it looks like he makes amends with Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi when he's a spirit at the end of Return of the Jedi. So that would just be horrible. Palpatine has to live on. He has to go into the outer regions, regroup. Obviously, Thrawn was rallying up the troops and conquering all the planets out on the outer regions, so they're rebuilding the Empire. It's down to a third, and when do they come out of hiding again? He obviously has to go to and get his new apprentice. That's the thing here. They got to create a new identity. Keep Palpatine. Ian McDiarmid, the guy's only about 68. He's still not even 70 years old, so he could play the old Palpatine. And it's going to be amazing. The new villain, the new Sith villain, has to have a new identity where I think they should keep it a secret that Palpatine survived and just have Thrawn kind of take over, not follow like the whole Seabath storyline of him getting the Dark Jedi with him. And Thrawn, if you're not aware, like I was saying, he's like more of a Star Trek type villain. He isn't Force sensitive, but he has the Calamari is his weapon. If a Jedi is in his presence, what it does is it negates the Force. It protects him from the Force. But I don't know if they should do Luke and Leia's kids turn to the dark side, or if they should just like recast Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia and Han Solo as young, recast them with young characters and set it up only like 10 years after the events of Return of the Jedi, or they're going to do it decades after and follow. I don't know, it's going to be hard to follow into Luke's kids, you know. You got to say, you got to think Yoda and like a bunch of different characters are going to be, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ewan McGregor's going to be back as Obi-Wan Kenobi as a ghost, mentoring Luke Skywalker, you got to imagine. And Yoda has got to be back as a ghost throughout the new trilogy. The Empire and Thrawn have got to reveal themselves. Okay, they got to have the bounty. They got to have the Jabba the Hutt, his new heirs who took over his palace and his basically mafia ring on Tatooine, his gangster mafia ring. Basically, they got to hire a whole new set of bounty hunters. Actually, the ones from Empire Strikes Back, all those characters, Dungar, ID4, Zuckuss, hire them all back, have that as a subplot, them trying to get back at Han Solo and everything. This was video number 2. I'm pretty much done with this one, I guess. This was JBM from Villain News. Click on my channel, check out more Star Wars videos. Just search Star Wars on my channel when you're on my channel page, and send me a personal message if you want to talk Star Wars with me. I'm out.